up, guys? What's up? It's been a long time coming. Um, I've got the camera set in a weird way today because I think I have it set up so that somebody else can join in. So I'm just being prepared. Almost the end of the year, guys, which means it's almost the start of the year. I mean, we're really close. I know it's still December 28th, but prepays are right around the corner. Usually I send those out in February, and that's still the plan. Um, where we send out prepays where people pay for mowing the whole season, fertilizer, garden maintenance, and they also sign up for the spring wake up package. All good stuff. I mean, man. So as the title of this video says, it's year end recap. What a freaking year, guys. Holy crap. Probably my best financial year, which is really mind blowing for me to say out loud because I had a really good year in 22. I think 22. I don't know if it was 21. I don't know, man. I've been having good years since I guess 2019. And I think I've had really good years before that too. But 2019 stands out as a really good year. 2020, I want to say 22 was a really good year. Now I can't even remember if it was my best year or not. It's possible it was my best year, but I still had a lot of expenses that year that kind of makes me wonder if it was really a good year after all. But it was a good fun, like take home profit wise. That was the best year. But this year may have been better because with the profits, I actually bought this property. So if you think about it that way, I feel like I still pretty much I don't have the savings, but I put it in this property. Walter, hey Freddie, I have to watch your videos. Oh man, it's too. I need to brighten my screen because I'm in Mexico with the family. Oh, cool, dude. That's awesome. Um, yeah, dude. Watch it later. Hope you have fun. You know, that's what it's all about, man. Working hard, playing hard. Awesome. So so yeah, this year was a good year because last year was my worst. No, was it last year already? Damn, now I can't remember. I think 23 was my hardest year ever. Oh, it was a bad year. Um, but the thing that made it a good year too, besides from the profit and all that stuff, is I basically it started with a challenge. So the year started with a challenge. The owner of this property sold it from under me, so they tried to evict me, and that was not fun. That was horrible. But what it got me to do was got me to really focus on saving the company and where we're gonna. I need to buy a property. That's when I realized I really need to buy a property. And anyway, with the lawyers and everything, and I fought the eviction with a lawyer. Luckily, I just thought about the total today. I think the total was only like 7,000, maybe $8,000, or somewhere in between there. Um, Money well spent because I fought this thing and we got it. Um, so once that hurdle was done, it was now okay. Let's buy this place. So basically, what that lawyer fight was all about was to be able to buy this property. So even though he sold it to somebody else, I was in a lease, and we pretty much negotiated that I had first right to buy this place because I was still in a lease. Obviously, they could have sold it to the other person, but they would have had to honor my lease till till that ended, and they didn't want to do that. So anyway, it all worked out. I bought the property, but what that got me to do was like the analogy of gun to your head. You've got a gun to your head. What are you going to do? And I realized I need to buy this property or another property. So what we got to do is come up with a down payment, which was about $150,000. So we needed to make enough money to save that and give that to a bank, whether it's to buy this property or another property. But we knew that that was the magic number that we needed. I also needed about $30,000 to pay off debt so that my credit would be good so I could buy the place. So if you think about that, that's like $180,000. And then so I needed that. So I knew that had to happen. Um, and banks are funny when you're buying a property. Like they want to see where the money came from and all this stuff, and it's like, so we only had a short window to do this because the agreement to buy this property was just to the end of the year, the end of this year, 24. They did give me a little bit of leeway into 25, but that would have been cutting it too close. So we had to get it done in 24, and we did. Anyway, we got it done. But those that know me, my business is my baby. You know what I mean? Like, so they're trying to tell me that if you don't come up with this money by this year, we're going to take the company for the property from you. And I've got all these trucks, and I don't know if you saw my thumbnail. I got 3 new Dodge Rams, so I'm just adding more trucks. And I bought those trucks after I bought the property. I knew that I had to do that, but I couldn't do it with the debt stuff before I bought the property. So anyway, all this is happening at the same time, pretty much. And it just made me focus so much on saving money, not necessarily um, revenue. I didn't care about revenue. I could care less. This was probably the first year that I didn't even look at the revenue for many times throughout the year. I was more I just kept looking at the savings. Boom, savings. So what we did was at the beginning, so that was my top priority. Um and I have to hand it to my team. The top team, I told them what we needed to do. They told me what we needed to do. We just worked out a deal. We worked out a plan that as long as we keep our trucks busy and they hit their man hour rates and we keep work coming, so it's like full work days, we're going to be able to do this. We're going to be able to do this. One of the key things was we're going to have to fire people who aren't hitting their numbers. Like, unfortunately, company first. So we have these man hour rate sheets that I've been entering in their times, how much revenue they brought in, how much we're paying them, and it spits out this basically these numbers, right? And so every division has a certain number they've got to hit, right? So like the Mo guys, and I don't know if I could pull it up. I'm just going to throw out numbers here. The Mo guys had to do $75 per man hour. Oh, I think I found it. So let me see here. So the Mo guys had to do $70 per man hour at a minimum, the lowest they had to do. And I'm looking at one guy here, and his lowest for the whole month of April was 80, so he beat it by $10. Same thing in May. June, he did $72. So anyway, the Mo guys had to hit $70 per man per hour every day. And then the garden guys, the garden maintenance, theirs was at 70 as well. This is garden maintenance. So these are the guys that go and maintain the garden beds every week, every 2 weeks, or once a month. So with the jobs they have, they had to be bringing in at least $70 an hour. So I'm looking at one guy, he hit it just barely in June. I think that's when he started. May, he did 75. July, he did 76, almost 77. So these are the minimums. So they had to do $70 per man hour for the garden guys. 70, same thing with the mow guys. Sorry, I lost my place here with you guys. All right, there you go. And so at the beginning of the season, so we had this plan. So with my ops manager, I'm like, look, we've got to hit these numbers. If you've got guys that aren't hitting these numbers, like we have to figure out why they're not hitting their numbers, figure out if we can get them up, figure out what the problem is. But ultimately, these numbers need to come up. And there are many reasons why the numbers don't get hit, right? Like maybe the price, the jobs are, like one property was a mow property and it had 20 trees. So when the person was estimating that online, like they didn't factor in that there's 20 trees. Even if they did, I don't know on the computer how they're going to figure that out to adjust the price right there on the spot, right? Like that doesn't really, it's not really realistic. But when the Mo guys get out there, they notice, right? So they put in their notes or whatever, but maybe they didn't do anything. I don't know. But we had a Mo guy that was like not hitting his numbers. So we got on him one day and he's like, well, that one property, I'm there for way longer than than I'm supposed to because there's 20 trees. I got to trim all those. Do you want me to not trim them? And we're like, no, you got to make it look good, but you got to tell us. So once we figured out that, my ops manager went to the property, looked at it. I think he even followed back up when the Mo guy was there just to kind of see what's going on. And so we were able to raise the price up because of all the trees. So anyway, those are part of the things you need to do when you're trying to hit your man hour rates, but you want it to be fair for your workers. But there were some guys that in the garden maintenance in particular that weren't hitting their numbers because they say they couldn't understand the app very well, which I get it, I don't get it, I don't know. Like it's part of the job. If you can't get the app, you can't work here. You know what I mean? Like unfortunately, and we tried teaching them, of course. We've tried teaching them. One of these guys that we had to let go this year who wasn't hitting his numbers was with me for a long time, years. But he wasn't hitting his numbers. Like he wasn't even coming close. And the reason why he wasn't coming close was his drive time. So he would like go to a house and in the other house, when he would finish that, and these are garden maintenance jobs, so they only have like 4 jobs a day. So once he finished his first job, his next job is probably, we'll say, 10 minutes away. But he would go to the gas station restroom, which I don't blame him. Sure, go ahead. But then he'd like stay there for like 30 minutes. And then it would take him like at that point, because he drove far, he wouldn't drive close to the next job. It would take him like another 20 minutes to get to the job. So he was doing that pretty much every job. After every job, he would do a pit stop. And I get it. Some people need to do that. And I get some of you guys are like, hey, you got to let your guys go to the bathroom after every job. It's an hour and a half every job, pretty much, right? But I've got guys that don't do that, right? And they hit their numbers. Um, so we know that we don't have to deal with that. Like we talk to them, hey man, you can't do that. Like, go job to job and then take a lunch, clock out, do what you got to do, and then go back and finish your next 2 jobs. That's the way you're supposed to do it. And we tried talking to him, and he understood. Like, we're like, "Hey, man, we need you to get your numbers up, and this is what we noticed from GPS. Why you're not hitting your numbers?" So then he would try doing it again, and then he would just have issues, saying he can't understand the app. It's taking him to the wrong place. Ultimately, we had to let him go, and that was the first of probably letting go of 3 people. And you know what's crazy? It's like out of, let's call it 20. I didn't have 20 techs. Let's say we had 15 one-man crews, and three of them, just three of them, are doing that. It's it's throwing off the rest, all the other workers, or it's not throwing them off particularly, but it's throwing off your numbers. So it's like you got 12 guys that are hitting their numbers, and then you got three that are like destroying their numbers. It's like, because their numbers are so bad, you're taking money revenue away from the guys that are hitting their numbers to cover those costs. So then those guys' numbers are off. So because of three guys, now you're going to have like six or more numbers that are off, because those people that are, we're taking money from, we're not really taking money from them, but on paper we're taking money from them to cover the ones that are doing really bad. Well, now the other people have to cover those numbers. Do you see what I mean? So it just goes on and on. And it's crazy that once we nipped those three guys that were great guys, loyal, show up to work, do a good job when they're on the property, they just weren't getting to the jobs fast enough, and therefore they weren't doing their job the way that we need them to. We had to let them go. And because we did that, our revenue, we would be able to save money every job that we did, almost every job. So that makes a big difference. So you may not, that opened my eyes too, because it's like, wow, just because of three people not hitting their numbers really good, it's throwing off so many other things. So we got that dialed in. The KPIs is what we call them. So key performance indicators. And for them for the field guys, it's their man hour rates, drive time, which we don't really look too much at the drive time, but we don't. You know what I mean? It's not the main number I look at, but once it's all said and done, you can look back and go, oh, an average driving time of 20% is actually really good. And then you just kind of know that once you kind of look at all those numbers. And if somebody has like 50% drive time, meaning they work 8 hours, but they're driving 4 hours, it's probably because they're knocking out their houses really fast, as long as they're hitting their numbers. Anyway, I don't need to go into all that. But that was one of the things that we focused on, changing the prices. So if a guy was taking too long or complaining, hey, this job is going to require like 20 more minutes or whatever, so we would call the customers and try and raise the price up. Um, we were just focused on saving money to save the property. So I will admit our quality probably wasn't as good as it will be. For sure, we're going to make it better, and I know that because we already have plans. I pretty much brought somebody on that's going to be doing quality control for mowing. So I'm already working that, and he's super excited to do that. And I think it's going to be great. It's my brother. So that's going to add a level that I think the guys will respect. Just the fact that he's my brother. He's a mow guy. Like my brother's a mow guy through and through. I mean, that guy, he mowed for me when it was just me. When he started mowing, he wasn't the only one. By the time he started working for me, back at the old Provo location, but he was one man crew. I had him doing one man crews even back then, and he was always taking care of customers. So I'm not worried about him. His quality, he's always been worried about quality. That's all he cares about. Obviously, in speed. So we talked about all that. So it's going to be great. So keeping customers is something that's going to be like our big focus next year. That's another thing I want to talk about. Next year, I want to hear what everybody's goals are, right? I want to hear what your goals were this year, if you can. Like I said, things change though, right? Like let's say my goal next year is to pay off all my debts prior to 2023. So if anything was a debt of any kind before 2023, I want it paid off. That's my goal for next year. That is my goal. That's my real goal. The thing is, you get in the middle of the season, things change, right? something happens, you need to buy something, there's a great deal. Something might happen and you got to change your goal. You don't really change the goal, it just got to change priorities. But I challenge you now to keep your goal, keep doing your goal. So, like for example, my goal last year was to buy this property. Like that was my goal. It maybe wasn't my goal in January, but once we got the eviction notice, we rechanged our goals. And so at the beginning of the season, we knew what we needed. We needed 180K in the bank, or at least 30 of that paid off to debts that were in my name, so my credit would look good when I go to buy this property. So I had to have that paid off. Then 150,000 dollars for the down payment to buy this place, and that was our goal. So I mean, guys, we went all out, man. I mean, we there was an account that came in, and I knew immediately if we get this account, that will help the goal. That will help the goal. So I didn't fight for that because we ended up getting it, and apparently we were the only ones that bid the job. But I told them how much we wanted it. I was bugging them. We as a company bugged them until they finally gave us the job, and then the whole year we took care of them really good. Um, that that account was paying was we were putting in a lot of savings from that account because guys, I'm normally a charge cards every day kind of business, right? It's like I'm not used to monthly billing. We I did it a long time ago, like probably 20, no, it's yeah, maybe 20 years. No, hell no. I've been doing this for 15 years, so probably I'll say 12 years ago, I did have some accounts that were paying me by check, and there were some big accounts. It was like one of them was a I don't know what it is. I guess I'll say HOA just because we all know what that is, but it wasn't an HOA, but it might have been an HOA, but I don't think it was. I think it was a management company uh, working with the HOA. Anyway, I had like three of those. I don't know if that's popular around here. I'm not in that game. I'm getting back into it, I guess. But back then I didn't like it. I didn't like that they were the month would end and I still had to wait like another month and a half to 2 months to get the check for what I did that month. I couldn't stand it. It actually ate me up alive. I couldn't do it. So I actually told them back then that I don't want to do this. We're not a good fit. Don't pay me for the month that we just did. Don't pay me. You don't need to pay me because I want to leave on good terms, but I just can't do this. I need money way too fast. There was a lot of manpower that I was paying for those jobs, and to wait 3 months almost to get paid was just too much for me. So I had to stop. They ended up paying me anyway, but I was very clear they didn't have to. And I was very grateful when they did pay me. And they actually gave me a note or called me or something and said, "Hey, we pay our debt, so we're gonna pay it no matter what." So I was like, "Okay, that's great." So fast forward all these years later, now I think we have enough money coming in every day that we could do commercial, and we know exactly like so that account that we got helped us tremendously because it was a big account. It required three people, three basically three trucks and three workers every day, every day for no, I wouldn't say all day, but for at least 10 man hours every day because there are multiple properties. So so that was kind of interesting too because those three workers uh we were like at the very beginning it was kind of overwhelming because it was such a big job that we were getting hints that we might lose the account. I mean, it wasn't like, hey, you guys need to do a better job. It was just like, hey, we're getting complaints at this location, and that was happening quite a bit. And so we immediate. So I basically gathered up those workers, and I was like, look, guys, You guys are working all the hours you want. This is great. Do you agree?" They're like, "Yeah, we agree. If we lose this account, I gotta fire 2 of you guys. There's 3 of you here. I gotta fire 2 of you because I won't be able to afford you. Like, these jobs are paying for you guys, and you guys are busy with these jobs all day. So if you guys lose them, you're basically losing your job." And I think that hit home, but that was kind of a realization, learning your numbers. Like, I'm not a numbers guys, and even if you ask me right now, I'll probably stumble on what numbers to talk to you about if you ask me something specifically. But I'm so much better with numbers than I ever have been. And probably if you look at some videos, I have been working on numbers for like the past year, maybe 2, especially when I had that bad year, 2023. Um, things were really I was really trying to figure out numbers then because it was just such a bad year. But being able to look those guys in the eyes and say, if we lose this account, I got to fire 2 of you, and there's 3 of you. So do a better job. You know what I mean? Like, and then I had the office, or not office, I had the ops manager visit those properties. I mean, he couldn't get to all of them every day, but he looked at them every week. He looked at every property every week. We were talking to the owners every as often as we could. I don't know. We turned it around, and by the middle of the season, I think they had the best properties they've ever had, ever, ever. And I believe that, and I'm very proud of that. And so I'm proud of the workers that did that, but also the management staff that was kind of maintaining that. They were visiting the properties. They would talk to the managers or owners, and they just kept up with everything. And there was a lot of services that needed to be done. They didn't sign up for like sprinkler maintenance, but when we noticed they needed something done with sprinklers, we sent them a detailed estimate. Anyway, I know I'm going on and on and on about this, but my point is we did an account that I knew we needed to hit our goal. So what I think we need to kind of what we need to do going forward, all of us, is like when we have a goal, like I said, my new goal for next season is to pay off anything that's 2023 debt or earlier. Like, keep that at the forefront of our season. So no matter what like crazy thing happens in the middle, yes, we have to work on that, but keep that other goal in mind because I am sitting here at the end of the year so freaking proud of myself and my team that we bought this place. When we had zero money in the bank, January 1st, 2024, when we were told we're gonna they're gonna sell the property to another person and you guys got to figure out what you're gonna do. We had no money that day when we found out. So there was no kind of thinking, oh, well, I'll just buy the property. No, there was none of that. It was, what are we going to do? And they're like, we don't know. So anyway, fighting, 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 goal in mind. We got to save this money. Oh, an account came in. That account came in. We need it. Let's get it. Let's put everything we got into this thing. Let's get it. And we got it. On top of that, we just made sure that our numbers, our KPIs were getting hit by all the workers, and if they weren't, they couldn't work here anymore. We have to level up. What else did we do? I mean, we streamlined everything. We cut costs. We tried to cut as much fat in the business as we could. So we got the bills down, way down, almost to $10,000 a month for fixed overhead. And then slowly, for whatever reason, we ended up having doubling that again. We're back up to 20. Um, and but we did get it down at the very, very, very beginning. And then we realized, oh, we need these things, we need that, we need this. I'm still cutting costs. I mean, I say we're at 20, but some of that cost is things that aren't monthly. Also, there are things, let's see. So the health insurance is almost $4,000, and I just found out it's going to be $6,000 in the new year, $6,600 to be exact. Now, I believe half of that will get credited back to us every month in the form of payroll deductions, but it's still a lot of money, man. If you're thinking about getting health insurance, I don't know, guys. I don't know how, I don't know if I recommend it. So last year may have been the first year we did it. It may have been the second year. Last year was the second year we did it. But last year and the year before, we paid 100% of anybody that wanted it. And and for some reason, I don't know, got lucky or whatever, but not many people wanted it. They did not want it, even though I was paying for it 100%. Uh, and I'm pretty sure everybody knew that. So I don't. It's kind of weird that they didn't sign up. Thankfully, they didn't. But anyway, um, the bill was still high. Like it was $3,400. No, wait. Am I looking at the right one? $3,600, almost 37. And then this year, because that was a lot, it's a lot of money. So this year we decided, well, if anybody wants it, they're gonna have to pay half of it, and we'll match it, right? Half. And now it's gonna be $6,600. So like more people signed up now that they're paying for it than when it was free. So it's crazy. And like I said, they pay half, so we're gonna get a lot of that reimbursed, but we actually need that in an account that'll be taken out every month, $6,600. And then in the form of payroll. So let's say payroll is $20,000. It'll actually be, you know, 18, maybe only 19, um, because we'll get another $1,000 reimbursed the next week, and then another thousand the next week. You know what I mean? It's like it almost feels like we're not getting it back. That's what it feels like. But we'll see. And I'm gonna try to go through it this year because you can't really cancel. I guess you can if we were like, we can't do it anymore, we can't afford it, we're gonna have to cancel. We would have to give everybody notice, and we would have to do all that stuff legally. But we're gonna try it this year, and then for next year, we'll see if we're gonna do it or not. I personally like it. I personally like my healthcare because it covers my family, obviously. Um, so I know it's a good thing. It's a lot of money, guys. It's a lot of money. I don't know if there are plans you can get out there without, your own business doing it. I know some people get it like with their spouses, but that's not the case with me and with some of my employees. So that's a big cost. Um, and then my mortgage went up $3,000 from my rent, but it's mine. So obviously I'm not crying about that. And then Service Titan, I can shave off like $800. There's a lot of features I don't need with that. So if you count those things, it would be a lot cheaper. My overhead would be a lot cheaper if I didn't have those three or four things. But whatever, it is what it is. But getting your overhead as low as possible is something I recommend, and it's something I'm still looking at every day, trying to do. What else? KPIs, charging right. You got to charge right, and you got to have good people. So So I know in my last video, I was talking about going into trying to sign up for Copilot. So I even paid for it. I even paid, signed up, and I was using the free version for like a month with my office staff, trying to learn it. We watched most of the videos. I wouldn't say we watched all of them, but we watched a lot of them. Um, like enough to feel comfortable, and we were starting to add fake jobs and signing in and doing that whole thing. By the way, Copilot is eerily similar to Service Titan. It's very similar, where when you dispatch a job, like it's on their phone, it's on their app immediately. There's no dispatching it. It's already been dispatched. You can't undispatch it unless you cancel the job. So it's always live. Um, the notes are like the screen per job, like on Service Autopilot. When you look at your list, it's just a list of jobs, and when you go to the first one, you start job, then it kind of opens up and you can see the address and you can add a note. That's about all you can see with that, and then you stop job, it goes to the next one. Well, with Service Titan and Copilot, the job list is really long, or you click in it to start it and it opens up and it's like really long. I mean, it's got everything in there. I mean, everything. Um, Almost too much information. I know I'm going into another topic here. I'm not trying to do that. And I'm not talking bad about it either. I mean, Copilot and Service Titan are great softwares, but it's just I wanted to make the change to Copilot because I think Service Autopilot needs a big overhaul, I would say. So we were really focused on Copilot the month of November. So I would say September we started really going, okay, let's get this figured out so we can go start using it for snow removal. So we really started looking at the videos, started acting like we're really going to use it. We were doing fake jobs, we were adding jobs, we were doing the whole works, and then we're like, all right, let's do it. So we started doing fake calls like we were the customer to the office person, and it's not ready like that. Like it wasn't smooth. Like, in Service Autopilot, when you get call a job, you enter in their name, information, you go right to the measuring the property. Well, with Copilot, you have to go to another screen. And if you're like me, you got 20 or 30 tabs open, then you got to find the one you were back on, finish up. It just wasn't spitting out prices like we want them to. So for us, it wasn't ready. We're like, we're not going to do this. So I actually canceled. And because we were so like so focused on making the switch, it was like I have been using Copilot for like months, is how I felt. So when we decided, okay, scrap that, we're gonna go to autopilot, stay there. I even signed a year contract because my price would be cheaper if I did that. And I knew I wasn't going anywhere at that point, so why not take advantage of the lower cost? So I signed the agreement, and once we started using it again, it was like 400 times better than Copilot. You know what I'm saying? Like once you realize, whoa, we just used another software and we were really going to do it. We were really committed to doing it, but it just wasn't. There was too many things that just wasn't smooth and ready for us. So let's go back to autopilot. And once we went back, we were like, whoa, refreshing. Everything is exactly where it should be. It's easy, smooth. When a customer calls, you just go through the process, really simple. And it's all there. There's none of this like waiting for features to come. It's already there. So I'm happy staying with Service Autopilot for now. For now. So my point is with all that is even though I thought it needed a big overhaul, it's actually a pretty good software. Like it probably doesn't need much. They are still working on things, but again, I don't need to go into that. Some of my other goals for next year, and it's something I'd like to get your thoughts on too, is how like you start the year with, let's say, 400 Mo customers, which is I think what we started with last year. And then you get a new customer every day. You get 2 new customers a day, 3 new customers a day, and you do that every day, every day. And then at the end of the year, you still only have 400 customers. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what the heck? So that was a big topic that I had with my managers, and I'm like, that is something we need to fix. Like, for sure, 100%. That's our focus. Outside of finances, that's our goal. Let's keep those customers. So my office manager created a form where we'll be able to see how many customers we start the year with. So I'm not going with what we ended last year. I'm going with what we're going to start with this year. And we'll get that number. Obviously, we'll start working on that number all the way to April 1st, or whenever the first day of mowing is. And we're gonna track all those numbers, or we'll at least track it from the first day of mowing. How many customers do we have that day? And that will be our thing. So we actually need, in order, so we want 10 mow guys to do 12 lawns a day. That's what we want. That's our goal. It's on paper. We talked about it. We agreed on it. That's what we want. So we need 180 minimum, sorry, 480 minimum jobs, mow jobs a week. 480 minimum, meaning we won't be happy until we get the 480. Once we have the 480, we'll be happy, and then we're going to want to try to keep, which we're going to try and do this the whole time, but we need to keep the customers. So the attrition rate, we need to keep that as low as possible. Or is it high as possible? I'm not sure. So we want to keep our customers. And so once at the beginning of the year, whenever the mow season starts, we're going to keep hopefully we'll have 400 customers. I'm hoping the first week of April, 400 mow customers. And every week we're going to track it. How many customers did we gain this week? How many customers do we now have? What is the difference between this week and last week? So we've already got a form where we're going to track it. And Rachel, my GM, is working on something so that, like, it'll show a star, show a happy face, or a sad face, or it'll show a poop every week. So we can, I don't know if she's doing that for me because I like to, I'm a visual person. I like to see those things rather than numbers. Um, and so we're going to try and track those kind of things with all the different services. The one that's the hardest, though, is those sprinklers, because those are, for the most part, not all of them, but a lot of them are one-time jobs. They need a pipe repair. We send somebody out, we fix it. We never see that customer again until they have another problem next year, or whatever. You know what I mean? So, so that's hard to do for sprinklers. Although there's huge opportunity there. I see a huge opportunity with sprinklers, for real. Seriously, I feel like when we get a Mo customer, we really surround that customer with all the different services we do. We let them know how we can better keep their properties looking good. And we kind of like put a bubble over that customer. So hopefully they never need to call anybody else. If they have any sprinkler problems, they call us. If they need garden work, they call us. Tree planting, mulching, anything, we're there for them. So we've basically done our best with that, and the same with garden maintenance. you know and in order to keep a garden maintenance customer, I mean, you pretty much they need to know you do all those other things as well. So that's another hard one to do. But sprinklers, it's kind of hard to capture that customer, because they most of those repair jobs, for some reason, just something I've noticed, it doesn't make sense, but sprinkler customers, a lot of them do it themselves. They do the lawn care themselves, lawn mowing and maintenance themselves, usually, from what I've noticed. It doesn't make sense, but it's kind of what I noticed. And so it's kind of hard to capture those customers into the mowing and all those other things because we have done. Uh, I don't know how detailed or scientific the numbers were, but we have looked into all our mow customers and all our sprinkler customers, and there's not that many that overlap. They're either just a sprinkler customer or some of them we also mow or do garden work for, but not a lot of them. So there's huge opportunity there for us to figure out how we can capture those customers to do more services for them because we have all their information, we have their emails, phone numbers, card on file. So there's a huge opportunity there. I We're just not really good at using Service Titan. And Service Titan is they're really good at kind of the system is just it's so complicated, especially like when you use Service Autopilot. It's just so easy. Boom, it's done. Where Service Titan, there are a lot of steps with everything. It's almost like Service Autopilot with the automations. If you've ever set up automations in Service Titan, Service Autopilot, it can be done, obviously. And once you get the hang of it, it works. Kind of like the snow dispatching on Service Autopilot. At this point, I can do it super easy, and it works great. And the snow dispatching is amazing in Service Autopilot. I couldn't say that 5 or 6 years ago. It was a mess. It was horrible to use. I hated it. But because I've done it so much now, it's like so easy. There are a lot of steps. When I show somebody how to do it, they're like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. You're gonna need to do this a lot of times to get it." And that's kind of how Service Titan is. Everything is a lot of steps, but it's all there. It's just powerful, but it's not easy. It's not right there in your face like everything else. You can't even text. You can't even like if you got your dispatch board and you got 100 jobs on the dispatch board in Service Autopilot, you can click one button and text them all. You can email them all. With Titan, you can't do that. So it's just annoying. Like there's a lot of stuff like that that's annoying. So I paid for a lot of those features, but it's so complicated that I'm just going to get rid of them. But it's a contract, and with Service Titan, it's a contract. So um, anyway, I think I have already reached out to them to let them know that I don't want a lot of these services. So that should lower my bill by $600 to $800. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty quiet today. Um, got some highs, Mel and Hunter. Pretty cool. I didn't notice I could actually go to channels. I may do that later. But yeah, so I got new trucks, as my thumbnail shows. This is interesting. So my tax accountant, um, have been telling me all year. I wouldn't say from the beginning of the year, but most of the year, you need to spend a bunch of money on trucks. And this she didn't just blatantly say that. I mean, she knows we spent a lot of money on repairs. She knows a lot, right? A lot went into it. Believe me, guys. It's not like somebody just said, "Hey, buy trucks," or it's time to buy trucks. Um, Out of all the trucks I have, I've only ever financed. Okay, besides mine, I have financed my truck in the past. So if you count the truck I'm driving now, I financed that one and then one more that I used to have that I used for work too. So besides those two, I've only ever financed one other truck. Sorry, two other trucks. Currently, before I bought these new three trucks, I had 21 trucks. And out of 21 trucks, I financed two of them. That's pretty good, you know? It's pretty good. In fact, my bookkeeper is like super impressed with that. Um, Even my accountant's very impressed with that. But we do need newer trucks now. We're at the point where we pretty much need a mechanic, and I hate that because part of my solution to fix the finances from 2023, remember we had a bad year, was every worker should be bringing in money. Shouldn't have anybody that doesn't bring in money. Meaning, you got a garden manager. Maybe it's your best garden guy, and he's so good at this point that he just monitors every all the jobs and dispatches and even quotes. Well, I say if he's quoting and he's the only estimator you have, that's great. If he's not the only estimator you have, and you're paying an estimator and your ops manager, or sorry, your garden guy is doing estimates, not all of them, just some, but he's just there making sure all the guys are doing what they need to do. That is a position that's not bringing in money. And you either need to put that person back in a truck or get rid of them. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things I learned from 2023. And so saying out loud that I need a mechanic is like, it's kind of going against that because everybody should be bringing in money. And so, yeah. What's up, Michael? Quiet Lawn Care. How you doing? Yeah, I'm just kind of recapping my year. Um, had a really great year, amazing year. Financially, I also bought the shop. I don't know if I told you that, man. I know I was talking about it where I was going to keep renting till the term of my lease is up because just to stick it to them. Even if I did find another place to move, I remember that was one of our conversations. I don't know if that was our last conversation, Mike. We need to talk. We need to hop on the phone and talk, man. Um, but besides that, so I ended up buying the property. So I hit my goal of saving up enough to buy this place. But in the meantime, to try to make the goal and hit those revenue goals, I had to make some changes in the company to make sure that we're able to be profitable. And so I learned a ton. And not only did I learn it too, but my office manager and general manager and ops manager we all learned it together. It's like we've elevated. You ever tell your staff, sorry, Mike, this is kind of you, but it's also for everybody else. You ever tell your really great people, it's like, guys, we're almost there. We're almost there where we're gonna start making money. We're almost there. Well, I almost had to have that conversation again, but instead of saying almost there, I said, we're there. We did it. So let's keep operating efficiently so we can make as much money as possible. And that goes for everybody from the field guys to the office people. Like, we're there. The only thing is, like, now that we're here, we have to maintain it. It's not just like, guys, like 2023, things can change on a dime really fast, even if everybody's on the same page. But at least we know the rules to make ourselves profitable. We know it. We know it. And there's still a lot that goes into it, right? You still gotta make sales, you still gotta do the jobs, you still gotta keep your guys busy, still gotta work a ton. But we know the rules. We know to keep costs down. We know that we've got to hit man hour rates. We're tracking numbers. We got to maintain all this stuff. So good, my man. We need to talk on the phone. Sorry we haven't talked recently. Yeah, that was our last call. So yeah, what ended up happening, the change of everything was one of their lawyer basically was on their last spear. They were gonna get me. And one of the things their lawyer said was Freddie's not authorized to be on the property. Because remember, I took the lease off another company. So my name or company name was nowhere on that lease. It was just my signature. That was it when I took over. But they also both parties signed too, so we kind of had that going for us, but we didn't really actually have proof that my company was allowed to be here. You know what I mean? So anyway, they thought they found a loophole, and so we were on the fence because we were about to go to court, and we thought our chances were good, but my lawyer was like, it's honestly it's 50-50. It could go either way, and that's the truth. And I'm just like, oh crap. But I had an email that I forgot about from right before I moved in here from the owner. I won't go into details of it. Totally forgot about it. It was the only email in 4 years that I've had with the owner. We've never emailed each other since then. Prior to that, one email. After that, we just called each other and texted each other to the landlord. Never again an email. So I forgot I even had his email. Because there were times throughout my lease where he wanted my email, and I was just like, you know what? I don't want to go through email with him. I want to just text him. It's faster. Tell me what you need, and we'll fill things out on text. Don't need like I was just thinking to myself, I don't want to go through emails. I don't want to have to look for another freaking email. So I never gave him my email. So I thought, and so you know, so I forgot, but I typed in his name in my email search when we were at the deadline with the lawyers and everything, like about to go to court. I just typed in his name, boom, an email popped up, and I was like, what? So I clicked it, and it was total proof authorization. So it was when they said Freddie's not authorized to be there. I was like, how can that be, man? I follow the rules, like I follow probably too many rules, and I follow them. So I'm like, there's no way I'm not authorized to be here. I wouldn't have just moved in without a no, without if they said no. So I did that, and boom, there it is. I printed it out or whatever, scanned it, showed it to my lawyer, and it was like, honestly, 2 hours later, get a call from the other party saying, "Hey, man, what do you guys want?" And that's when it was like, "I want to buy this place." So that's how it happened. Um, and then we just had to come up with the money, which we did because we just had a great year. James, am I going to Blue Collar Summit? As of right now, no. I do want to go. I'm sure it's like really soon, right? Um, Kind of forgot about it to be honest with you. I went to one trip last year, one, and that is not normal for me. Uh, I went to which where did I go to? Was Andy's Mike Andy's summit last year at in Washington in January? Because if so, I went to that, and then I may have went to one more event, which was a mastermind group that I was a part of, and the only reason why I got out of it was because the bank was wondering when I was trying to buy this place, they were looking at all my expenses, and they're like, what is that? And I was like, yeah, it's a $700 a month membership fee that I pay to go to this group, to be part of this group. And they were like, um, you probably need to get rid of that. So I was like, done. So I canceled, and that's kind of how that happened. And then you had a good year. Yeah, bro. Had a great year, Mike. Um, Great year. Like I said, great year. Feels good to have a big goal. We need to save up 180,000 or buy this place. Really, the goal was to buy this place, but we knew what it would take to have to say that number that you have to have that saved. Although I keep forgetting, 30 of that went to pay off some of my debts that were in my name so that my credit would be good when I go to buy this place. Um, so I really needed 150 plus pay off a bunch of debt that was going to make me look good on my credit. And then we did it. You know what I mean? It's like we did it when we bought the place, when we signed. Actually, when the bank said, "All right, you're good. Let's set a closing date." That's really when I was like, "We did it." You know what I mean? But I didn't want to get over my, I didn't want to get too excited too fast. And then we actually signed like 2 months after that date, after they said, because the other party, because remember, they bought the property and they were forced to sell it to me, or something like that. But they had to buy it first. So they had to come up with money so that I could buy it off of them. So it took them 2 months longer than everybody originally thought. But we got it done. And it just felt like I'm still so proud of myself. You know what I mean? It's like, man, we did it. And I'm proud of my team. Obviously, like your workers, as owners, you always want your workers to be treated amazing, right? You want them to do the job. You want them to be happy with their work so that they can do the job. But there's always going to be conflicts, right? Like even your best guy one day, he's your best guy one week, and then the next week he's kind of looking at you cross-eyed, like, yeah, I don't know if this is worth it, man. And you're like, what are you talking about? Um, so that's always going to be the case. But I'm extremely proud of my field guys. I mean, they all showed up. When there is conflicts, like they're always going to be. And I want to say conflicts. I don't know if that's the best word for it. If there's ever issues that need resolving, just in order to make your workers feel better, feel appreciated. You're going to have to go through those things. It's never going to end. And it shouldn't end. You should always be rewarding your workers. I mean, really, I still feel that wholeheartedly. Um, Blades of Grass, Johnny, what's up? Looking good, my man. Thank you. Yeah, dude, you too. Yeah, bro, I lost 45 pounds since the beginning of 2023. Um, had a super bad year, and I lost control of the whole company pretty much. I mean, it's like no matter what I could do, I was just losing control of it. And I said to myself, I can control myself. Like I can't control everything around me, but can I control myself? And that's when I said, I'm gonna challenge myself to lose this weight so I can know that I'm not crazy and that I can control something. So I controlled myself and I lost a bunch of weight that year. And in the meantime, working on the business and ultimately, eventually, gain control of it again. But yeah, that was something that I felt I needed to do for my own sanity, my own mental health, and I did it. And it's like now I can't stop going to the gym, man. I love it. I go every day, even when there's days where it's like, you know what, I could oversleep, but I'm like, it feels weird. I'm gonna go to the gym. So that's what's going on, man. Hey, good to see you're still killing it on your socials and your YouTube and everything, man. It's just awesome to see. I'm always just I have no reason to be proud of you because you've always been amazing. But I feel like, man, I'm just so happy for you. So good job, awesome, bro. Keep it up. James, do you know Augusta Lawn Care Services in Utah? I never seen them. You know, yes, taking care of the employees is priority. Yes, it is. Um, Without them, you can't do the jobs. You know what I mean? And I try and tell that to some new, like sometimes I have like managers or even other workers that are like, you just need to fire them. And it's like, dude, relax, man. Like, it's really funny because sometimes when there's a worker that tells you you should be firing people, they're some of the ones that need most work on. You know what I mean? So you lost 30 pounds. Great, Mike. Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, I think when we were both hanging together, we were both we were both pretty heavy, man. So good job. Um, yeah, let's all just keep it up. Yeah, dude. This is so I'm proud of my staff, my field workers because they do the job. They showed up to work even when there was issues. We dealt with it. Um, but my management team, the top team, like they just got it. They just understood what we needed and what we did. I mean, they were part of it. So we all kind of worked together to do it. I feel like my ops manager grew a lot this year. Um, you know, and we're still all growing. We're still growing, but now we're like, I feel like going through this year, where we had this big goal to buy the property and we did it together. It definitely brought us closer. Like something I've never seen. I've been going to mastermind meetings. I haven't this whole year, but prior to that, I went all last year and some of the year before. And you start talking about team building and everything and getting closer with your management team. But I never really felt that until, I mean, we've had like those meetings where we talk about our core values and all those things and we get close together that way. But when you're fighting for your business and everybody's acting like it's their business and they're fighting for it just as hard as you really gain something there. So at this point, um, kind of like with the field guys, you want to take care of them, but these people where they can literally run the business hopefully without you. And I have gone on trips. I've gone to Hawaii for a week, and they handled everything. You know what I mean? When we have high escalated big problem customers and things, I don't handle those. Even now, yeah, like if it came in now, I wouldn't handle it. Oh, my general manager handles that. So I'm just extremely lucky, and it all stems from taking care of your people because it will grow. It grows. It grows. Um, James, St. George. So, are you from St. George, James, or there's a? Oh, you know what? There's a quiet. Sorry, not quiet. There is a Augusta Lawn Care in Cedar City, possibly St. George, that I know of, and that's Brent Banks owns those. Forgot about that. It's kind of far from here, so I don't remember that a lot. Um, what's up, Jarmar? Happy holidays. What's up? Yeah, man. Uh, hope you're having a good holiday season. I'm having a great season, a holiday season, but the Mo season is coming up, man. It is right around the corner. We're literally talking about sending prepay letters in 2 weeks. Not necessarily to get the prepay letters in 2 weeks, but to let them know to be ready for prepays in February. So we're thinking of sending that in 2 weeks. And so right now, what we're doing is making sure all our custom fields are up, are good, and making sure that we're ready. We've got an office manager who's amazing, and she started like in May, so she came right after the Feb deal, and so she doesn't know what that's going to be like. Those all those calls coming in. It's like the season starts in February, so we're getting her ready too. So, oh, and Jamar, I didn't. I almost went with Copilot, but I just at the last minute I kind of changed my mind and went back to Autopilot. Um, Me and my two office people agreed that we really dove into it like we were going to do it, like we were learning it as if that was the only software we were going to use, because we started using it late September and all of November. I mean, we still used Autopilot for our workers, but we were acting like we were using it in the office for all of November. So when December came, I paid, and then we were going to do it, but then we realized the workflow wasn't smooth, so we decided not to. And so I canceled, got on a call with them, and did my exit interview with them. I didn't ask for a refund, even though we only used it for like 2 days after I paid for it, because I felt like, you know what, I want to support that software. I'm just not ready to use it every month yet. So that's kind of what happened. Um, yeah, it's not ready. But I'm excited to know that there's another software that's coming out there that's done by Mike Andes, who used Service Autopilot, and so I feel like if anybody's going to make it better than Service Autopilot, it should be Mike Andes. But we'll see. And we know from I was a big Jonathan Potoshnik follower, and any update he ever made took forever. And he had staff and staff and staff of people, right? Like hundreds of people. And I don't think Mike Andes has hundreds of people working on software. I mean, just because I'm naive and stuff, I feel like he only has like two people doing software like updates on there. Um, so I'm not like holding my breath that everything's going to be done really fast. Um, they have a lot coming down the pipeline, and I've hired some juggernauts in the industry, but still need another year. Oh yeah, that's true. I have been watching the videos when I was learning it. Yeah, and they brought in somebody who was big into software. Um, but yeah, but like when I first signed up to Service Autopilot, um, it was kind of I was pretty new with software, so I was like really into it. And knowing that they had a ton of people working on it and things still took long, I now know that, making big changes like that, it's not going to be fast. So I'm not holding my breath, but I can't wait till there is a software that's live when they're dispatching and all that, and it's jobs get done and you know about it, everybody in the team will know about it right away. It's not ever been like that with Service Autopilot. But one of the things I did mention earlier was after really diving in to Copilot as if we were going to use it and then learning it and doing it all and then deciding we're not going to do it and going back to autopilot. Autopilot looked really good, just so you know. Like it was like, wow, this is like light years ahead. Autopilot is. So I ended up signing a year contract, knowing that what, if Copilot does, if Copilot is ready, it'll probably be a winter thing where we change, and so by then I'll be ready to make a switch. But in the meantime, I'll take advantage of signing a contract for 1 year with Service Autopilot and taking advantage of those savings and making sure the costs won't go up because prices do go up every year. But when you do a contract, they don't go up on you. So we'll see a bunch of cosmetic changes first quarter. Basics we get hammered down probably the first of the year. Yeah, and one of the things really the thing that when we saw it was like, okay, we can't do it. We can't do this. Was that the measuring is on a different tab, and then it doesn't spit out the prices like on a rate matrix like it does on autopilot. Like once it was like, dude, if you don't have that, like we can't do this. Like that's end of story right there. If we would have found that out first, we wouldn't have wasted. Well, I wouldn't say wasted time because it was really good learning it. Um, one of the things that I figured out, and I still haven't gotten a call back from Autopilot, is the ACH. Apparently, Clearant, who owns Service Autopilot, does ACH billing, but it's a feature you need added on from the back office. And that was something that really intrigued me with Copilot because if we can charge people ACH, we would save. So I thought I actually thought we were paying close to $80,000 in merchant processing fees, but it actually is a lot lower than that. And I was kind of like, oh damn, I was way off on that. It's somewhere between 50. It's about 50,000. So if we can get everybody on ACH and charge that way, that would save us, you know, from I don't know, a lot of money. Even if it was only half, it would save us half our merchant fees, right? Of like 50,000 is what we pay, it would save us 25,000. And if we actually got everybody on it, which is what we were going to do if we were with Copilot, that was the main reason we were going to go with Copilot. And so right from the beginning, we told the office person, you won't be getting cards anymore. You'll be doing ACH. You got to get bank accounts. Like that's what we got to do. So we were trying to, that would save us a lot of money if we did that, but it didn't work out. So, but I did reach out to Clearant and they just never called me back. So I don't know what's going on with that. Sorry, somebody parked in front of my shop, but I don't know who it is. So, and I have the window down because so it's kind of dark in here because it's too bright. It's like you couldn't see me. Anyway, guys, I know it's been a crazy year. I'm always inconsistent. I know. I appreciate you guys when you guys are here and we can all talk and catch up and things. Um, so I appreciate you. I just had so much going on and I couldn't talk. Like I closed on this property it was Halloween. So October 31st was when I actually closed on the property. And prior to that, the owners that were selling it to me did not like me. They hated me. Um, Once I closed, I reached out to the landlord because he still owns property. Well, he owned properties on the street. So when I saw his truck, I walked over to him once, and we, I said to him, "Hey, man, no hard feelings." 'Cause I gave him hell too. You know what I mean? Like I gave him hell with my lawyers and stuff, and so he started it though. Um, but I told him, man, no hard feelings. I was just fighting for my business, and so it's all done now, and we're good. And he's same thing with him. He's like, yeah, man, I totally understand. I was just trying to get it sold, and so no worries. So, but at one point, he told me that if I ruined the deal with the guy that was buying the whole block, if I ruined that, they would never sell to me, no matter what, ever. So I had to be cautious on what I said out there. I didn't want to piss him off any further. You know what I mean? And I don't like causing problems anyway. But I like telling you guys what I'm going through. But in doing that, it wasn't gonna be very nice about the other party. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I kind of had to stay off because I was just going through too much. But yeah, I've got some things planned. I've already talked to my wife about it. I think I talked to you guys even too about it, but I'm going to start instead of signing up to like a mastermind group, I'm going to start going to different shops and meeting with different owners that I know and doing shop tours and doing interviews like that. That's kind of what I want to do. I know it sounds crazy and maybe it can't happen. But especially because I've got new initiative this year. I've got plans to be more open with my customers. Not more open, but more easily accessible to my customers. I don't know hardly any of them anymore, and so that's one of the things to keep the attrition down to where we're not losing customers. I want to get to know them again, kind of like I did in the early days when I used to know all the customers. Now I don't know any of them. And I think that makes a big difference, being able to show up on the property and let them know that I see their problems and we're going to fix it. That's something that I'm going to do. Um, I've been a desk jockey for a couple of years, and I feel like it's been valuable work, to be honest with you. Coming up with the KPIs, looking at numbers, making changes from my desk was very important. But I think we've got it down to where we've got these forms that we just fill out, enter, plug in numbers. So now we've got to do a little bit more. I've got to keep up with the customers now. But yeah, I'm gonna look into the blue collar. What is it called? Uh, Mike Andy's conference summit, blue collar summit. Right. That's a good one. That was a good one. Um, when was Tommy Mello there? Was it 2023 or 2024? I think it was, yeah, I think it was 2023. It had to have been. Yes, it was 2023. Um, because last year then I only went to one trip and it was in Arizona, Chandler, Arizona. It was a great trip. It was for a mastermind meeting and that was it. That's actually, while I was on that trip, is when we got the first phone call from the guy that was buying this place saying, "Hey, when are you guys getting out?" And we're like, "What?" And that was, um, I was on a trip, and I was just kind of like, "Dude, I don't even want to think about this right now." Like, of course, we thought about it because by the time he got my number, he had called the office like 3 times, and then finally, my general manager was like, "Oh shoot, I think this is legit. This is real." So she gave me his number, and I called him back, and I was in Arizona. Um, didn't really ruin my trip because I knew that had a lease, and so, but little did I know they were going to fight. Everybody's going to fight the lease. By the way, the guy that I bought the shop off of, so the guy that bought it from my landlord, and I had to buy it off of him. Um, he's an amazing guy. He's a cool guy. He's so cool. I still love the guy. He worked with me. Obviously, it was like court. It wasn't court ordered. It was agreement because I had the lease that he had to sell it to me. But he did it gracefully, and it was all good, man. And I'm still, in fact, I still help him do something. It's simple, it's easy, not a big deal, but I'm still willing to help him. And I don't mind doing it because of what happened and what he did for me. So I just wanted to say that too, just in case there's a chance in the world he's watching, maybe not, but um so I'm happy with the old landlord. Whatever we fought, it's over. No hard feelings. And I'm happy with the guy that bought it, and then I had to buy it off of him. Super happy with both of them. So we're all good. Sup, broski? I love to see you making things happen. Yeah, you too, man. Um, Orban. Orban also bought his property of Yarderos, USA. Really inspirational guy. He was in our mastermind group. I love to see that. I was missing that I don't know, muscle or brain section where it's like, oh, I want to buy that property. I'm going to go do it. Oh, I want to do that. I'm going to go do it. Like I don't have that. I'm too careful, and I'm not saying anybody that does that is not careful. It's just like it. I get crippled with being too careful, and I don't. And I because I had to buy this property, and I looked to Orban, um, you know, listen to his experiences and stuff and everything, and it kind of made me feel like, you know what, I think I could do it too. Um, so I appreciate him too. Um, but I think you need people around that have done big things so that you can feel like you can do them too. Like I know it sounds cheesy, but it's like true, right? It's like the day I hung out with Tommy Mello for that whole like day in Washington when he showed up to the hotel early, and so did I. And I met him at the airport, and he took me to the hotel, and we hung out, him, Bree, and me all night. He was telling me some things. That was 2023, January 2023. He was finding out about me, and he told me, buy to your shop. I was like, what do you suggest I do? Like, I wouldn't even talk about I was gonna get evicted. We didn't even know that back then. So that was a year before I got the eviction notice. He listened to my whole business, everything I'm doing, everything I talked about, he listened to it all. And then at the end, I said, "So what do you think my next move should be?" Is he said, "Buy your shop, buy it. Talk to your landlord and buy it." And I was like, "Oh man, dude, like I don't know if I can do that." He's like, "Dude, I did it." And if you've ever been to his shop, I've been to his shop, and he owns the shop, which is crazy. It's like two big old buildings. And then he owns an apartment complex like few feet away, and that's where like all of his trainees go. Like the guy's insane. Like that's the guy that's like, I'm gonna do that, and he does it. Like, obviously he's like in a weird way. Don't laugh too hard at me, but in a weird way, he's kind of like a service. He's like the service Elon Musk. You know what I mean? He's like somebody that's like he can handle these big giant things. And I bet you if I hung out with him long enough, I would feel strengthened to do some of those big things as well. That's just what I'm saying. And so when you got guys that you're around that are buying properties, buying this, doing that, and maybe even me, like I feel like I may not know what I'm capable of either. But I do have people telling me, man, oh, that's cool. You got 23 trucks, that's pretty awesome. Um, Now you bought the property, that's pretty awesome. Oh, you have this much in savings, that's pretty awesome. Because sometimes you don't see what you're doing until you see what other people are doing. It's like, man, that really empowers you. So I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but you need people around you that are doing big things. Like you just got to. And a lot of these people on this chat, man, are doing those big things. Um, so this is really cool. This is really cool, guys. If you really think about that, I mean, a lot of these guys on here have awesome businesses, successful businesses, have bought things, um, great concepts. I mean, giant YouTube channels. Um, this is a great little community, guys. Um, this is really cool. Uh, Jarmar, you'll be there bringing our production manager as well. Nice. Yeah. My brother is now, so my brother used to work for me a long time ago, and he was great. He was really good. I wasn't ready for somebody with that thought quality top of their mind as much as he did at the time because I was so worried about all the little things, like my brother would when he went to a property, he would get to know the customers pretty good. And I'm like, dude, you don't need to get to know them. Just mow it and get out of there. Because I was in the like, let's grow, let's grow, let's grow. He would take out their trash. He'd go, oh, on that route, I got to take the trash out because trash comes out tomorrow or today or whatever. Whenever it was, he knew it. So he would take the trash out. On a lot of these people's houses, and they loved him. They loved him. I've always said this, and I have a video from a long time ago from when he quit or he got fired. When I fired my brother, that I had almost everybody on his route canceled and didn't want they were going to do it themselves because they didn't think that anybody would be as good as my brother was. So that's pretty crazy. Um, and I've always said that. I've always said that, and I told my managers that. So I'm just like, look, we're going to be lucky that he's going to be here because he wants and that is what we need. That's like this year, just remembering the year. Um, but yeah, guys. So again, my goal for next year, pay off everything prior to 2023. So I've got these three new trucks, these new they're Rams 2500s. And oh yeah, I never finished that story. So my tax accountant was like, you need trucks. You're paying a lot in repairs and blah 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 blah, and you want to grow, right? And all this stuff, it's like yes. So you need to buy trucks. I have this great landscaper. He's really good. He's really good. He's not Fernando, but I will say he's probably, I'm not joking, 15 or 20 years younger than Fernando. So I mean, he's good, and he's super young. Um, and that only means that he could be here for a long time, is what I'm saying with that. Not that that makes a big difference, other than that. And he's talented, right? He used to work for Brightview, and so he was doing big projects. So he has the confidence of when he worked there. And so when he came here, I told him, I hired him, and I had, and my ops manager and general manager, basically my office staff, my top team was like, Freddie, what are you doing? We're trying to save money. And I was like, trust me, I will take the blame for this, but we're hiring this guy, and we're gonna pay him this much because we need it. No, we don't need him, blah blah blah. I said, trust me, and if it doesn't work out, you can blame me, but I've already worked out a deal with him. So even if you guys are right and we don't need him, we're still good. We're still good. Um, and anyway, I told the guy, my landscaper, I was like, I know that you're going to take over the landscaping. It's just a matter of when. But in the meantime, I need you to learn all these other stuff, like the garden maintenance stuff. You just need to learn that, and you need to you can't do the big jobs yet. And maybe we'll start a second landscaping division, so you can do that. But as of right now, we don't have that much work, and we have a guy that's been doing it. But I kind of have a feeling he's not going to stick around. He's hard to work with, and he's talented, but he's just hard to work with. And Fernando was his buddy who started his own thing, so I knew he wasn't going to be here very long. I just knew it. That was what I knew. Anyway, sure enough, after about a month, um, my main landscaper, not the one that I have now, but the other one that was here, basically finished the job half-assed, big job, like one of the bigger jobs that we've ever done. And he left, like he quit, and I'm good with leaving. Like, you know what? I don't need your 2 weeks. I'm good. He was good, so he left. He actually got in a fight with my ops manager and used that as an excuse to leave. So he left, and that's when I said, "All right, man, time to step up. It's your time to shine right now. Here's the deal. You need to go back to this job and fix it." He did some mistakes, probably because he knew he was quitting, but I need you to fix them. And these are big stuff, right? Like, it was a big install. It was a full yard install, and there were some complaints from the customer, rightly so. And even I don't know if it was, so at the time we had another person in charge of managing the big projects, overseeing it, and she saw that there were some big things that needed to be fixed, and she was going to have the main guy do it, but he quit, so he couldn't he wasn't going to do it. But so I said, all right, don't worry, we've got this other guy. He's been ready to go. He's going to fix it. Tell him what to do. So he tells him, she tells him, and he fixes it better than it would have been done the first time. And he was repairing, like he was fixing the problems, and he made it better. The original landscaper said that there was something that could not be done because of the texture of the rock underneath the soil, whatever. My guy fixed it. He said, yeah, that was a problem, but he's dealt with stuff like that. He came from Brightview, you know, like he came from Brightview. So, not that that means everything, but like he was a guy that was ready to make the jump. He just couldn't. Like, when he was at Brightview, they wouldn't give him the opportunity, even though he was ready. He knew he was ready. He worked with the guys. He was always in charge when the main guy was gone in his crew. So he was ready to go. So he took this job on like he was so happy. And ever since then, man, he kills it. He kills it. Um, so I'm really happy with him. The one difference that he doesn't do that Fernando would do was that Fernando would also manage the other, like Fernando would do the same kind of jobs that this guy would do, that this guy does, but he would also make sure the other jobs were efficiently done too. So sometimes Fernando would show up to a big job, and he'd say, "Oh, I've got me and two other people, but I only need one other person. So I'm going to drop this other guy that we're going to pay anyway to help this other crew, this other one man team, so they can get these big jobs done, and the company will make more money." And he would do that nonstop. He would also show up to another job and say to where the guys are working and say, "Hey, load up the dumpster and I'll take it for you guys. I'm on my way to my next job." And they would do it. So he was constantly saving the company money and making us more efficient. And that's something that I don't think we'll ever find ever again. I know. My wife says, you always say you never find somebody. You can find somebody. Just got to find somebody. But that's something that was never taught to Fernando. He just did it. You know what I mean? He just he just did it. So, by the way, he's doing good. He's had a great year, super great year. One of the things I kind of warned him about, and he's doing great, is I feel like he's buying a little too much things, and I'm like, you should probably cut back on some of those big purchases you're making. But I know how it is. I know the feeling of you needing to do these things. So I don't blame you, but that would be my recommendation is don't buy so much. Keep your overhead low, and then find a shop, man. Because every year the prices go up. Every year the prices go up. So that's kind of what I would do. But yeah, he's been doing really good. But my new guy, um, his only issue with me. So imagine you have this great landscaper who can do any job that we've been quoting, and he came right in and without skipping a beat, just did it perfectly. Yeah, I don't know. Would I say perfectly? Perfect enough. You know what I mean? And he's gotten better every day. To at this point, I feel like if he was one crew and Fernando was another crew, it would be very similar, except Fernando does those other extra things of making sure the other crews are being efficient, which I can't blame anybody for not doing because it's not part of the job. That was just he was just good at it, just natural. So this new guy, imagine you got a guy like him and you want to make him happy, right? He's like, hey, and you've kept him busy, you've kept paying him, he's doing great, but you want to keep him, right? It's like, so I'm like, hey man, what can I do to make sure you're here for for the long haul? He's like, well, the only thing that I struggle with is I don't have a good truck. I'm like, yeah. Um, so when he means good truck, he means like a new truck. And if my tax accountant is saying you need to buy a new truck anyway, well, there it is. I'll get the landscaper, the new truck. He pulls that big dump trailer around all day anyway, so he probably could use a good truck. Sometimes he pulls heavy trailers when they've got excavating. I mean, this guy knows how to use all the machines, which is something Fernando didn't know how to do. So there are some pros and cons here. Not pros and cons. There are some things that do outweigh other things here. Um, I'm just pointing it out as I'm talking. But yeah, he does know how to use all those machines, which is really amazing. So he goes to the rental place, picks up those excavators, trenchers, stump grinders, and he does it. So he does need a good truck. And he probably did need like a crew cab, which all my big trucks that he was using did not have a crew cab. So so my initial thought was, well, if I need to buy a new truck anyway, just for tax purposes, I might as well get him a really good truck. So that was my mentality, right? So and he said, yeah, if you get me a new truck, man, I'll be good. So I'm like, and he when he means good truck, he means like drive it home. Now, does he drive it everywhere? I have no idea. I don't even care, to be honest with you. I don't even care. I just knew that he needs a truck because he was driving a 250 older. You know what I mean? It looks good from afar, but as you get in it and drive it around, it's not going to be the most reliable long-term truck. So I got him. So I was looking for like a big truck. I was originally looking for a 350 or 3500 or something like that, and then I came across a Ram 2500, and I was like, oh, and it was a 2021, and asking price was like 29,000, and I was like, wow. So what I did was I went to my bank where I got my mortgage for the shop, and I said, hey, could I get an approval amount from you guys? I would like $120,000 for trucks. 'Cause that's what my bookkeeper said I should get, or my tax accountant said I should spend to keep my taxes as low as possible. So they originally said they'll try, but yes, they do that. And so anyway, I got on board, and they got on board, and blah 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 blah. It turns out I only got approved for 100. But anyway, I look out, I find that truck. So after I find the truck, I didn't find the truck first. I asked for the loan first, and then I found the truck. And so then I went online and I found the truck, and I called the owner and I said, "Hey man, I'm interested in your truck." And he said, "Oh, that's cool. I've got two more. So I've got three." He actually has four more. He had four more at the time. But one of them was a 1500. The other three were 2500s. So at that point, my bank saw that these are good deals. So what happened is this other company that had these trucks, they actually have like 30 more trucks, but they only were getting rid of these four first because it was the maintenance division of their company. They're scaling down. So it turns out that those trucks are being financed, and they were going to pay the difference if they could find somebody to buy because they just wanted to get rid of them fast. Anyway, with the bank, it took forever. It took a long time. So by the time the bank was like, "All right, let's do this thing," those guys are like, "Well, now the price has gone up because we got to make another payment now, and these aren't even the payoff amounts that I told you guys. That was only if you bought one, but if you're buying three, you got to pay the payoff price, whatever the finance company says you need to pay." So anyway, it turns out they came out to $32,000 for each. So it was almost 100K. But because they had the fourth truck, my bank was trying to get it for me. I had an awesome sales dude. Awesome. His name's Trevor. If you're in the area, in the Utah area, and you need somebody for your business, I'm not saying he's gonna make it happen, but he will fight for you. Like, that is something I'm impressed. Like, I love it when vendors fight for you, man. And he's a fighter. I can get you in contact with him. Mainly if you need one to four trucks, uh, like anyway, however many trucks you need, he'll help you. He'll help you. He really tries hard for that. So anyway, I got the three trucks, and so that takes care of my garden maintenance division. So my mowing division, I've got nine trucks, but two of the nine are not in running condition. They need some major work. They need somebody who knows what they're doing to fix them. And the only reason why I don't get rid of them right away is because they have those mow beds on them. You know what I mean? So I need to get those fixed. And when prepays start coming in, that's probably going to be my first order of business, is getting those mow trucks ready. But if I can get every single mow truck tweaked and get those two that are not running to work, I'll have nine mow trucks, and then I need one more for my goal because I want 10 mow trucks this year. And on that 10th one, I will try and finance it or save up enough to buy one that's 2022, 2021 crew cab. Sorry, single cab, and then we'll make a custom bed on it. I've already talked to the guy who's going to do the custom beds. He actually wants to work for me, which is like, wow. But I'm like, dude, you do way too many big things. You're not gonna stick around. You know what I mean? You know when you find like a master welder, um, master mechanic, they're not gonna work for me forever. Like, they're not gonna work for me for like a week. They're gonna stick around, even if I pay them. I don't care how much I pay them. he's not going to stick around. You know what I mean? The only thing is something I haven't mentioned to you guys that is kind of a big deal is I did get a second location at the south end of my service area. So now I'm in the middle of my service area, but then I got another garage. How many square feet is it? I want to say it's 1,100 square feet. It's like a garage, and that's where we're going to do our repairs. But if anybody lives in that area that we hire, they can park their trucks and go out and keep going out there. You know what I mean? So I've already got that kind of in our plans for the new season. And because I have that new shop, there is a chance that I could get this guy to work for me. And actually, if I can keep him busy, he could stick around for me. But those guys, they're super expensive, and that's a position that doesn't make any money other than fixing things. And you know what I mean? If I could work something out where he's only getting paid when he's there, I think I could make that work. But I can't pay him to stick around and just sit down and wait and not fix anything. You know what I mean? Um, which is kind of defeats the purpose because I also need somebody to make sure everything's organized with all the trucks. There have been a lot of times where guys take trucks out, they come back. Next thing you know, I go into the equipment storage and there's like trimmers missing, and I was like, dude, where's the trimmers? It's like, oh, so and so took them. It's like we need somebody to just manage all that, and I just don't know. Sounds like something easy, but it's not. Like it's not easy at all, especially when you've got all these equipment and stuff. So I need to hire somebody to do all that, but I'm scared to hire. Like, I want to hire this guy, but he's too amazing. Like, I know he's not going to stick around, and it's pretty sad to say, but unless he really enjoys that shop area, that shop that I got in the south end of my service area, and he could do work there himself, that may be something. But it's just going to take negotiating what he wants to do, what I need, and seeing if it works, and then if the money works, and how we can pay. So anyway, if I can get those 10 mow trucks, that's my mowing situation. Currently, we have 7 that are running that need tweaking, right? Something's wrong here or there. Maybe there's a check engine light on 2 of them. Like they're not new trucks, but they can get the jobs done. So we have like 7 that are running like that, 2 that are not running, and then I need to buy 1 more. So that's my plan for the mowing. The gardens, I now have 4 super, um, what do you call it? Super reliable trucks. I have 4 super reliable trucks. One's the landscaper, and 3 of them are the garden maintenance guys. And that's all my guys. That's all of them. But that leaves me with 2 backup F-250s that are in same kind of condition as mow trucks. You know what I mean? Like they can get the job done. It's just they're not new. They're older trucks. You probably have 180 to 160,000 miles, which is not bad. But we really run our trucks. Like we work them, so they may only have 160 to or less miles, but they run like they have 250,000 miles. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, those are our 2 backups, which are going to be not only backups, but they're going to be like when we hire new garden guys. So the goal for the gardens is to have 6. Currently, we have 4 trucks. If we get 2 more operating, that'll be great. But in order for that to happen, we need a big account like Starbucks or something like that, where there's a lot of properties. If we want to keep those 2 right out of the gate busy, and we're trying to. I've been in great communications with a bank that has 30 locations in my county and south end, basically my service area. There are 30 locations in my service area, and one of the person was really fighting for me to get the account, but if they found out just Thursday, I think, that the reason why they haven't been calling me back is because they're under contract with a company for 1 more year. But at the end of next 2024, they said they're going to bid it out again. and hopefully I can win it then. Being one of their customers, I'm a good customer of theirs. I owe them a lot of money for my property and the trucks now. So I hope that they give me the opportunity. And if we would have gotten that, we would have filled up those two trucks really fast. So I'm still trying to find something commercial with at least 20 locations, at least. Obviously, I'll take something that has 10 locations, but then I need another one that has another 10. Basically, if I can get 20 locations, I can fill up those two trucks. And if I had more, that would be even better. Okay, so that's 10 mow trucks, six garden trucks if we get them all filled, both with the mowing and the gardens. Two fertilizer trucks. So we started fertilizing last year again from our non-compete, and we filled up one truck. So we're really proud of that. Me and the office are very happy with that. We would like to fill up a second one. Now, all my years of doing this, I never had two fertilizer techs. I've had a tech go out full time, and I've had two fert trucks where I was the second fertilizer guy because we didn't have enough work to hire somebody to do it. Um, and technically, we could we could put a lot more on the one fertilizer truck that we have. He just would have to work later in the day and work Fridays, maybe even Saturday. But considering we fill up a truck on Monday through Thursday, we would like to fill that up and then start filling up another one. So we'd like to end with two fertilizer trucks this year and five sprinkler trucks. So I have five sprinkler trucks. One of them is down, one of them is not running. Again, that just needs somebody who knows a lot about engines and can fix it, or motors and fix it. Uh, but I've had five sprinkler techs pretty much. I had five techs this year at the beginning and five last year. So I know that's doable. It's keeping them on. That's been our problem. So obviously, if you know me, I'm always trying to figure things out and get better the next year. Why have we lost? Okay, so we had five techs to start last year. We did start getting rid of some techs. If they don't know what they're doing, they can't work here. So I do get rid of some techs for that. And we have done some training, but for whatever reason, some of them leave. We've had some really good techs leave. And the thing is, guys, a sprinkler tech, it's hard to get because it's like a 6-month gig for the most part, right? You start in April and you end in October, and then you've got November, December, January, February, March, where it's too cold to do anything usually. I know there are some situations where you can do installs and things like that, but for the most part, you've only got 6 months or seven, and people that want a career, that doesn't sound very good. Even my main guy now, he's doing snow removal now. So we have we have our all our sprinkler guys doing snow removal, but there are months, like, right. They didn't do anything much in November and most of December. I mean, really, they only worked 2 days in December. So, but they're happy, right? You got to find people that are happy with the break, right? They work nonstop, spring and summer, and blowout season, and they're happy to take a couple months off. That's what you need to find people that. So that's what we need to find. And also, the pay structure probably could be a little different, more into their favor. So that's something that I've been working on with my spreadsheets and Rachel, the GM. Like, what can we, and even the office manager, because she's the dispatcher and she has a lot of say over the sprinkler guys too. So it's like, w- we've been working on things every year to make it better, and so we're just going to do that again, and hopefully this year we can find the sweet spot on finding good techs and keeping them. So that's my plan, guys. And then currently, right now, we have, I want to say 12 shovel guys, and two of those are two-man crews. So really, we have 10 trucks out. 8 our our trucks, 2 are their own vehicles, doing residentials, and that works for us. That was part of the plan. That was, hey, um, you guys, if you want to work, you can. You have to use your own car. Otherwise, you got to wait till we have a truck available for you guys. And we don't have any plans on getting new trucks unless somebody quits in the wintertime, and that rarely happens. So that's kind of where we're at, guys. Keeping it simple. Um, 10 mow guys, 6 garden guys, 5 sprinkler guys, 2 fertilizer guys. And I have this board that I've made that I'll show you on the next one or something. But it's a grid, and we're gonna do. We'll have an interesting pay structure for the field guys going into the new year. So I'll leave you with that, uh, and hopefully we'll talk about it in the next video. If I don't talk about compensation on the field guys, it's because I still haven't told them how it's going to go, or I forgot. But most likely, I haven't talked to them because I think it's something we want to talk about at the kickoff, which is usually the last week of February or the first week of March when we talk about those things with the guys and we have them sign the new policies and all those. Well, hey guys, that's it for me right now. I think I'm going to call it a day. Hope you guys have a good week. Happy New Year's, and talk to you later.